Well, good morning, councillors and council staff, members of the public who are here in the gallery with us today. I want to particularly welcome Councillor Dennis Chapman from Fraser Coast Regional Council. Thank you, Dennis, for joining us today. And on behalf of the council, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, which you'll appreciate the Kabi people of the Midland and Coastal Plains and the Genova people of the southern people. We acknowledge past, present and future leaders who look forward to working with our Indigenous community to build strength, resilience and capacity in our region. I'll now be grateful if the chamber can be upstanding as I talk to Pastor Michael Rafferty from Simon Baptist and Commander to read the prayer. Thank you very much, Pastor Michael.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Creator of heaven and earth, the great I am and Lord God Almighty, I thank you that this council has the foresight to see prayer to you as necessary to help them make wise decisions and to seek your blessing upon this meeting and the coming year. We thank you for this wonderful, unique region of Australia which enjoys such diversity of natural beauty and is blessed with a wonderful climate. I thank you for each member of this chamber who you have ultimately placed in their positions. And I thank you for them being willing to act on behalf of their constituents and serve them in such an important and responsible role. Thank you for the sacrifices they make in doing so. We ask you, dear Father, that you would give them wisdom to make good decisions for the betterment of the whole community, not out of any self-interest, but with integrity, honesty, and without partiality. May there be a sense of unity and oneness in this chamber. Please give them great foresight in planning future expansion of this rapidly growing area. We also pray for the necessary funding for such expansion to be forthcoming from the state and federal governments. And so, Lord, we just commit this meeting to you in the name of Jesus, and we pray, Lord, for much wisdom, much blessing upon each one. We thank you for it in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Michael. I have an apology, councillors, from Councillor Dixon. And I also will leave part of the meeting according to go to visit with the Premier, so Councillor Dwyer will take over at that time. Would someone please move the receipt of the minutes of the special meeting for budget adoption on June 20 and also the ordinary meeting on June 20. Thanks, Councillor Hungerford. Seconded, Councillor Dwyer. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Council, I'd also like to draw your attention on 21 May 2018, amendments to the Local Government Act 2009 came before us. These amendments include the new Division 5A, which provides new legislative arrangements for dealing with council's personal interests in local government matters, and these arrangements will apply to how we manage such matters in this meeting. So if there are any material personal interests or conflict of interest, perceived conflict of interest, please raise those prior to that item being addressed. We have two new items to introduce to the meeting. Councillor Rod, would you like to move those first? Thank you, Councillor Pye. All those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillors, just before we get into the official business of the meeting, I just wanted to reinforce an event with you yesterday, but I think has got significant implications for the future of our region. And a really good announcement that Council, with the support or in partnership with the state government and also Unity Water, declared the Blue Part. Now, I know that you've already given material on this. This is an area north of the Bridgie River, 5,000 hectares of land. Floodplain land, a lot of it is historically been cane growing land, and the partnership between Council, the state government and Unity Water seeks to deal with the challenges of climate change through the utilisation of this land in a variety of ways. Of that 5,000 hectares, it's worth making the point that the council, community water and the state government already own 1,200 hectares. So about a quarter. The balance obviously is in the hands of private individuals or companies. And those, their existing land use rights will remain. But what we're actually doing is giving them an opportunity to expand those land use rights. You will have probably had inquiries from your own constituents about asking us to declare a climate emergency. And we've seen a lot of councils around Australia declare a climate emergency. But that's all we've done. Now I don't believe, our council I don't think believes we need to declare a climate emergency. What we need to do is take action that actually delivers outcomes around the impact of climate change. And part of that is about storing carbon. And historically, people have thought, well, you store carbon in trees or forests, and they're absolutely right. But you can also store carbon in water or underwater, adjacent to water. And we have got a tremendous coastline, a tremendous floodplain that can store significant amounts of carbon. Already on the land that Unity Water own, significant, and let's describe that land as wetlands, which acts as the kidneys for the Marucci River floodplain, extracting a lot of the nasties, whether they're through fertilisers or other contamination. And already significant amounts of that has been achieved. So I don't often do this, but this is something I personally feel very strongly about in terms of what we're doing. Not making emergency declarations that don't have any initiatives or action that delivers a result. So let me just talk about a few of those results. And we know, councillors, that the forecast is by 2100. Most of that floodplain will be regularly inundated by the water. So we're taking action now to put in place a plan to deal with that. But here are the number of other actions that this council is doing. And I know people in the gallery will be very interested in this. We've developed a coastal hazard adaptation strategy, which is really, really important. We've incorporated the sea level rise factors into our planning schedule. We're expanding our conservation estate, which I always take great pride in saying is the largest conservation estate in South East Queensland. We're becoming the first government, or we have become the first government in mainland Australia to offset 100% of our electricity consumption and renewable energy by our solar farm. We're making a nomination for the biosphere. Councillor Mackay had me up at Miami during the week to look at the Dark Sky project. Now we are taking real action, and this announcement yesterday with Minister Leanne Enoch and Catherine from Community Water really is an outstanding step by this council to demonstrate our commitment to a strong synergy between a buoyant economy, the preservation of our environment, and a happy and content community. So there you have it. Not just making announcements, but taking real action that should give great confidence to the community of the Sunshine Coast. So I wanted you to all be aware of that this morning. Okay, let's move on to please
ask a question on that, if I could. Sorry if it's I noticed. With regards to the initiative which talked about, would it be fair or unfair to someone happy this to be taken on notice and someone come back to us, the work that the Caloundra, former Caloundra and Marucci councils did on up at Brewery Pocket and Landers Shoot with regards to hydroelectricity generated through that plant as well, even though it's no longer with council. Is that something that we could look at to see if it's one of the Sunshine Coast initiatives to go towards the overall initiatives with regards to renewables and whatnot that still fall into that same basket?
Thank you. Thanks, Councillor White. Yes.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And one thing that you didn't mention now that you did actually mention on the radio, which I thought is very, very pertinent, these works haven't just started. 6 months ago or 12 months ago. This is actually, some of it's a decade of work. And Councillor Rogerson and I that have been around these tables here a long time. The Blue Park concept, while it wasn't in that concept, it's been viewed and looked at for a long, long time. So endorsing the words that you said today about our environmental responsibility for this region has gone on for a long time.
Thanks, Councillor Guy. Okay, we'll get started with the opening item, which is item 8.1, the Sunshine Coast Council Mass Transit Project. And I'll invite Leah Bancroft to give us a report. Thank you, Leah.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, I've been asked to make this concise, so we've got a bit of time at the end to show you a video. So there'll be a few slides that I skip over that just go into a little bit more detail about service needs, but we can come back to those if there are any sort of specific questions. So as you can see from the covers of the reports on the top line, we've come a long way since 2012 when we embarked on this. The final report, Urban Transformation, was the last major bit of work that we did up until the strategic business case which we're presenting to you today. So this is part of the formal business case process under the Building Queensland framework. And there are 3 phases to this framework. First is the strategic business case, which is completed. The next is the preliminary business case, which is in progress. And the final stage is the detailed business case. And that's going to be undertaken to the state government. All these phases do need to be completed if we've got a chance of getting investment into a project by the state or federal government. But in completing those, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that we will actually get that funding, but it puts us in the best possible position to actually get it run. As I said, the first of the 3 phases is the strategic business case. This is high level and it's really about identifying the problem. The bigger the problem, the greater chance we actually have of getting state and federal funding because we're comparing projects across the whole of the state and Australia. So if there's a quantifiable and significant problem, they're more likely to invest. The strategic business case aims to ensure that the service need or problem is substantiated, that we can articulate it, and that we've looked through, that we know what benefits we actually want to achieve, and that the initiatives we've looked at do actually have the chance to actually achieve those benefits and fix the problem. The business case identifies the problems to be addressed, defines the project objectives, outlines broad solutions, and identifies initiatives that we're doing now, of which there are numerous, and also looks at potential initiatives that might fix the responses. And obviously there might be a combination of all of those things that need to happen moving forward. The strategic business case then provides the recommended approach for the next phase, which is the preliminary business case. Today we're hoping to seek endorsement from Council to actually provide that strategic business case and the Stage 1 Infrastructure Australia template to the state and the federal governments. With the aim of getting the mass transit project onto the priority lists for the infrastructure, so the state infrastructure pipeline and the Commonwealth infrastructure priority list. And that identifies the funding priorities for both state and federal government. Okay, with the expected 190,000 people that are likely to come to the Sunshine Coast over the next 25 years, we've identified a few key challenges for the Sunshine Coast. These include the growing levels of road congestion, the accelerating trend towards urban expansion, a high dependency on private motor vehicle, and the need to broaden our local industry base to support the continued high levels of employment that we have. These ones I'm going to sort of skip over, but in essence, I guess, with the population growth that we've got coming, the actual congestion increases sort of exponentially, so it's much higher than the actual population growth, just because people have more cars, so there will actually be more congestion on the roads. As I said, we've got a high dependency on cars, and we need to try and improve public transport to encourage people to actually use that over the car to actually help manage the congestion and also the environmental impacts of the car use. Present day high employment self-containment, definitely not a problem, but it's something that we actually want to maintain, and I guess that's at risk in two ways. One, through the congestion, because it makes people, travelling to work much harder. But also, if our links to Brisbane are much easier, then the high growth of jobs that actually occur in Brisbane is likely to actually, make people work there rather than here. So, I guess, unlike a number of other councils, like Morton, who have a fair percentage of their workers that go to Brisbane, we currently don't. And we really want to do everything we can to actually maintain and improve that position. Okay, the objectives of our mass transit project. We actually use this to actually help develop the service needs and assess the options to see how they actually address those needs. So our objectives are to promote the Sunshine Coast of productivity, employment growth, and the achievement of the self-containment targets by supporting strategic centres, and that's through improved connectivity with other businesses and also with the workforce for those businesses. The next objective is to improve livability, provide a catalyst for positive change by unlocking urban renewal opportunities, and this is supporting the SCQ regional plan and our planning scheme to balance the greenfield development. So it's definitely not one of the other, it's the combination moving forward, and to also provide greater housing choice. It's also to improve the public transport network of the Sunshine Coast more generally, and ultimately to provide a deliverable and value for money solution. In starting on the strategic business case, we asked the consultants to sort of look at the concept for the strategic mass transit on the Sunshine Coast. This is what they came up with. It's not definitive, but it was the starting point, so we could actually consider different investment opportunities, look at where our priorities for investment might actually be. What they came up with was faster, doesn't show on the screen. In the green corridor, the fast rail of Queensland Regional Rail in the Cairncross corridor, which is already preserved. Local mass transit in the coastal urban corridor, which is the yellow corridor. And then high frequency buses in the connecting corridors in purple. So in undertaking the strategic business case, they've recommended that mass transit system, so the ultimate one, be delivered in stages, with the priority area being the Richard to Guano corridor, with a local mass transit system. This is for the urban renewal opportunities, to connect the economic activity areas, to address our West areas of congestion, and they've recommended that be done in the short to medium term. The next priority area is from the hospital, basically to connect to the regional rail out to Biwa. Again, mass transit, gazetted corridor, and that would support the development of Biwa East and also Caloundra South. So that would be the next priority area. Priority 3 is the local mass transit to connect the Climate Hospital through to Caloundra and to connect on to the mass transit system in the Cairncross corridor. Again, that will also looking at the urban renewal opportunities and the economic activity areas as well. On the fourth priority area, again, the Cairncross corridor will be connecting up to Maroochydore. Again, faster link from Guano through to Maroochydore, but not as many stops, not as many opportunities for urban renewal, but certainly something that we believe needs to happen more in the sort of the longer term. And not finally, but the priority area 5 out to the airport, so there's a connection from Maroochydore Centre through to the airport. The service type hasn't been confirmed there, but it's likely to be as of the faster bus in the shorter term. We can now progress the preliminary business case, which we're actually starting, and focusing on that first priority area, which is the Richard to Corona section. In sending the strategic business case to the state and federal government, obviously we'll expect feedback on that. That'll be incorporated into the preliminary business case moving forward. And the preliminary business case will essentially relitigate, so we can re-look at different transport options, different solutions for that corridor to make sure that we're actually have the best solution for that corridor moving forward. And yeah, test that again. So now I'd like to finish with a small video, if we could.
We live in a beautiful part of the world. It's a growing place with some transport challenges. Now is the time to plan for a system of transport that moves more people more efficiently to the places they want to be. Work, health, shopping and leisure. Register now for updates at masstransit.sunshinecoast.qld.gov.au.
Great, thanks, Leah. Someone happy to move? Councillor Babrowski, thank you very much. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Connolly, thank you. You are open, Councillor Babrowski.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Head. Councillors, it'd be easy to consider this just another necessarily detailed report. I hope that you don't see it just as a detailed necessary report. This is in fact an incredibly important day for this region. I think we all appreciate that this has been a journey for us that certainly exceeds around 9 years, thereabouts. And if we get this right, we can preserve the quality of life of this region long into the future. And we recognise if we get it wrong, the lifestyle of this region literally is at stake. So I'm incredibly pleased to be part of the process that has led to this point where we have now got on the right strategic pathway. I won't necessarily try and repeat all of the details of the report. I think that would be unnecessary. But I think it's important to point out again so that we really understand why today is so important. Strategically, we are now on a pathway that would sunset partnership with the state and federal governments. We've worked basically carrying the heavy load of understanding the issues and doing a lot of the preliminary planning to get to this point where we could get the state and federal governments on board. Without them being on board, because they ultimately will be their access and their operational responsibility, we wouldn't be able to achieve the outcomes we need for this region. But we've now started the proper structural process, the 3-stage planning process that essentially leads us to potentially the right funding outcomes from the state and federal governments. So fundamentally, that's the reason this is such an important day today. It's full of detail and full of perhaps contestable arguments about different modes or different percentages, but that I think is the space that we should be in. And I welcome that. And I welcome it to be examined and interrogated. But fundamentally, we are now in a position after several years where we've achieved this proper relationship with the state and federal governments on their networks. So, councillors, I hope that you will see this in its proper strategic context and support the officer recommendations enthusiastically.
Thanks, Councillor Babrowski. Any further speakers? Councillor Dwyer?
Questions on this, Mr. Mayor, if I could? I'm not sure it's an answer, but I'll forward it to the office. Yes, could you answer, please? Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to refer to a letter by the Oscar organisation dated to the Premier, 24 May 2019, which was seeking, in my opinion, one of my council's efforts to progress the development of a detailed business case for mass transit solution, where Mr. Greg Smith stated that council is fixated on light rail and business case should not place all of its emphasis on so-called end-of-life technologies. I asked, will the preliminary and detailed business cases consider alternative technologies as well as light rail? And if so, what solutions will be evaluated? Thanks, James.
Thank you, and through you, Mr Chair. I can understand the basis of the question. Moving forward, we want to make sure that the business case process is as robust as possible. And those that have to examine it are going to want to make sure that we have considered all the alternatives and that we are not fixated on any one technology. So that's one good reason. A better reason is that we want to make sure that the technology that we use and prove up works for us. So from a business case perspective, we'll be looking at every available alternative, both long, tried and true and tested technologies to new emerging ones. So that goes from light rail, as has been talked about a lot before, goes to bus rapid transit and a multitude of variants of those. New and emerging technologies like the truckless train, which is still being in trial in some locations, looks promising. But we will need to look at all of those and convince ourselves that they are functional, feasible, and will stand the test of time.
Further question? Thank you. In that word, I also talked about, as I just touched on, end-of-life technology. Is there any evidence to suggest that light rail is end-of-life technology?
It's possible to perceive that light rail is like that. If you think back to Australia's earliest examples, they date back to the 1880s. I think Melbourne's first tram was a horse-drawn vehicle in that time, and it's probably taken a form not dissimilar to what we know now since the 1920s. So it's been around a long time. Does that mean it's end of life? Almost certainly not. In fact, the example of that in light rail throughout the world is that it's still being implemented successfully now. There are over 50 cities in the US alone, many of which have incorporated light rail into their mass transit arrangements the last few years, but are still using that technology. As I said, it started out with a horse-drawn train. It's been through its own technological revolution as it's gone, so it's not as though light rail isn't progressing like most other forms of transport to continue to incorporate new and emerging ways of travelling via rail more efficiently and more effectively. So it is anything but an end-of-life technology. As evidence, it remains reliable, it remains predictable, it provides comfort of ride, it provides certainty of service. There are other technologies out there, as I said before, that people examine. They will all have to demonstrate those characteristics before we can dare to act on this as a viable alternative.
Good question. The Oscar then goes on to accuse the Sunshine Coast Council of demonstrated poor record on community engagement when undertaking major projects. Could you highlight for me, please, the community feedback and response that was received in respect of the work we did on the light rail when council undertook extensive community engagement exercises in 2012, 2014 and 2018? Did this or did it indicate a strong level of community support for the light rail? I asked that in light of the answers we given on other alternatives.
The consultation in 2012 on the line in the sand, we've got significant support, so 82% support for light rail on the Sunshine Coast. The consultation that we did then on the route options in 2014 indicated 87% support for council's investigations into light rail. The consultation that was done for the integrated transport strategy also indicated that there was a high level, 77% support for investments into light rail to manage the growth impacts and to maintain our lifestyle. And also through the environment livability strategy, it was identified that there was a need to actually move more towards public transport to maintain our lifestyle as well.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, noting the considerable difficulties that the Redland City Council has faced in attempting to undertake an autonomous vehicle trial on Carragara Island, I'm not sure what the pronunciation of Carragara, but that's where I read it, which is not a heavily populated area. Electric buses and autonomous vehicles regarded as safe and cost-effective mass transit solutions as we sit here today?
Right at this point in time, the probably simple answer to that question is no. as part of the primary people mover component of mass transit. Autonomous vehicles, or having said that, already promise that last mile component of the journey, where small vehicles carrying more than one or two people, but not necessarily many, could make that last trip from what is a high-speed mass transit component to more localised destinations. It's certainly true there's a lot of hope held out there for what autonomous vehicles can bring to our society. I think that hope is yet to be proven in terms of the technology. There's a long way to go before autonomous vehicles will be the dominant form of transport even for private use. At this point in time, some of the technologies that would be under consideration for mass transit use do use autonomous technology of LiDAR, which is a self-guided radar components. And they would certainly be part of the mix. But the example that you've cited in the North Bay Islands is effectively, you've seen that they look like a very large oversized toaster on wheels and carry a few people, perhaps up to 8, at very slow speed. Probably not much faster than the walking pace, and you can certainly cycle it considerably faster. So they are not the sort of vehicle that probably would play a predominant role as part of mass transit.
Does the strategic business cases before us today commit council or any other tier of government to a light rail solution?
No, as I said earlier, light rail would be one of the technologies we'll be examining, but we are looking at every other form of technology and are not committed by this process to inevitably choosing light rail as the preferred.
That's my understanding too, so I'm not too sure other people have got other ideas in the community I speak to. Indicate and agreeing to the position I've just put forward. Finally, could you outline what elements council need to consider in a coordinated strategy to accelerate urban consolidation in infill and how this would occur without undermining the amenity of existing communities?
Urban consolidation infill is obviously an important task for any council, or most of the urban councils and the larger councils in South East Queensland. Sunshine Coast, through the states, have shown the SCQ document. There's a target, I think it's 53,700 additional dwellings by the year 2041, and that's a long task. It's easy to forget, though, that we've made a lot of progress already. Our current planning scheme provides substantial opportunities. In fact, the state's own measures that matter, their growth monitoring project, says that we have in excess of, well in excess of their 15-year minimum supply of consolidation opportunities, we're sitting at 18 years. So we're already well prepared now for any potential change. That doesn't mean we'll sit back and not look further. A substantial part of the business case process, particularly as we move from a route, which is where the vehicle goes from A to B, to an alignment, which is precisely how it does that, where it is in the corridor, where the stations are. That leads you to a better understanding about the opportunities that occur in and around that station, what's loosely called the walk-up catchment. And as has been our approach so far through techniques like the local area planning, we look very precisely at what that means for that catchment. And we're talking about continuing that Sunshine Coast character. This isn't hydro, that's not what we need here. It's not necessary to achieve the things we're talking about. But we're talking about character precincts that do look to renew. I mean, infill and consolidation sound quite pejorative, but if you think about the term renewal, we are creating great new local community opportunities. And if you look at where mass transit projects have occurred around the world, it's that renewal capacity, their capacity to have a community see itself in a new light that creates the greatest sense of excitement for projects and is ultimately critical to the way in which people choose to look at that mass transit opportunity and then use it. And it is transformation. So we are aiming through this process to better understand where those opportunities lie, what our timing would be for delivery, but we're not there yet. We have to understand, as I said, the alignment, the station, the catchment characteristics, knowing that we don't have to rush into this because we are well prepared now, along much of the corridor for some sense of consolidation and considerable of that.
I'd like to speak to the council, please, Councillor.
Thanks very much to our council officers for the presentation and the answering those questions. I appreciate that. It leaves me comfort that where we've been going what I thought we were doing is different to what other people representing the region seem to think is the case. But I respect your right to see it differently. I just don't think they've got it right. And I think that they're a little bit probably under-informed before they write to the Premier. But anyway, that's their right to look at from that perspective, and always welcome and scrutiny. For me, mass transit is obviously vital in the Sunshine Coast, Mr. Mayor. If we continue to rely on private cars, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. It's going to be an integrated approach. It's mass transit, it's urban consolidation and renewal, and it's looking at all the things that go with the mass transit situation with regards to, as Councillor Hunter was talked about, what my park and ride stations, what role might they play in the future? What's the story of parking in the future? Is parking free to encourage people to stay in their car and ask for more car parks? And where's the return on investment to ratepayers for that in the future as they're sitting on the Nickel Way in traffic because of the reliance and the freebie you give to free car use in the future possibly. It's not something that I envisage as a good thing for my kids into the future and my grandkids. Both of my kids have kids, of course. With regards to infill and character, I'm a big believer that where you've got population growth is where we should concentrate our infrastructure. In the areas of the Sunshine Coast that shy away and don't want growth, well, I think they've also got to understand, in my opinion, that they're asking to make sure the areas that get the population growth get prioritised for infrastructure as well. And it's only fair because we've been calling on the state and federal government to meet the infrastructure needs of the Sunshine Coast because of our growth. And with it from the Sunshine Coast perspective, we can't then change that philosophy and not worry about whether we provide infrastructure as that relates to population growth. So our community have got to be along for the ride on this, and we've got to help them understand better where we lie, the intricacies, if you like, of mass transit and infrastructure provision. Interestingly, I can't remember the exact numbers, but apart from 3 years of the new Manila MP government, it's been a Labor government in South East Queensland, Queensland, I should say, I suppose the majority of at least the last 2 decades. And the funny thing is that they bought that Labor government, the ones, the Labor state government, the ones that bought Clam South forward wasn't supposed to start till 2018 through the local management strategies that were done by former councils. But they brought that forward. And what did they do with the transport? Ken Cross Transport Corridor was supposed to be delivered not long after today. And I'm actually spending in 2019. They pushed the act and never ended. So we've got organisations quite likely like Oscar demanding accountability of us. I wonder how many letters they've written to the state government advocating for the Sunshine Coast to bring infrastructure forward. That was pushed back and they brought the population forward. It'd be interesting to see if Oscar might call Clanner residents or SCEC, Golden Beach Progress Association, Clanner Residents Association, might be able to send us some letters that were sent down to the state government saying why aren't we delivering infrastructure that should be going with the population. I'd be very interested to see copies of those letters. And they'll tell us organisations are non-partisan and impartial. With regards to infill, the character of our suburbs on the Sunshine Coast is really important. So this renewal is going to have to be done in a way that allows the community to understand and have a good look at what infill means. And if I use Cloud as an example, we've recently done the Cloud Master Plan in there, which looks to increase densities in the CBD, close to shopping, close to schools, close to transport, close to medical, close to sporting facilities, close to the beach, easy to get to the highway. And importantly, where the light rail station or a mass transit station, whatever that may be as a result of these investigations, is just a stone's throw away from where we sit here today. And in doing so, it's allowed us to put further protections on the beachside character of our low density suburbs in the Caloundra area. First started in the 2004 planning scheme and further strengthened those character protection zones in our 2014 scheme. And yet there are people who have publicly gone on record saying the Caloundra Master Plan is all about 4-star hotels. No, this is about finishes in there. So, councillors, it's really important that we move forward to use this case, continue to stay the community use, and making sure that they understand the difference between public transport to the Sunshine Coast and public transport to and from Brisbane. Fast rail doesn't make it work for the Sunshine Coast. We've still got to get from station to station to station. So helping the community work with us to get a good mass transit solution at the end of the day is something that's going to be vitally important in the future.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Humming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will be supporting this today, but I have some reservations or some points, and I'll elaborate on those. I think Councillor White predicted where I go setting up the talk. I'm supporting the concept of giving mass transit ability for people to reduce their car use. What concerns me is the urban consolidation infill concept, and also looking at that saying, now people have got this, they won't need cars, so reduce the parking costs. Now, as you know, we're a vast region. In fact, Australia's a vast country. So I think looking at that and saying reduce the parking rates because they won't need it is a bit short-sighted. Because people will still need to use cars to do other traffic. This gives the ability in this area here to reduce the need to make every trip in the car. Because unless you want to become a hermit and only live in this area and never venture anywhere else, you're going to need other forms of transport. So people will still need cars. So when we get to those points in the plan, we will present that case. I believe we're heading in a good direction. We'll be able to give people that ability to get to work each day. It's currently about 6%. Using shared transport and about 1% and 2% using public transport. So this is a step in the right direction. To reduce the congestion in this area is how we're controlled. But there will still be the need for people that need cars to do other routes as well. So I believe we need to keep that in focus as we go forward with this. I'm supportive of this today, and we really do need the state and Commonwealth governments to come forward. Councillor Rice is completely correct. A lot of people think the great quotes that we're hearing here is councils doing. It's not the state governments doing the regional plan. We're given mandate to vote targets we have to meet. All local governments are getting that. But we're not getting support from the infrastructure to actually support those people, and that's completely correct. And those levels of government need to be brought to account. If they want these levels of prosperity, they've got to invest in the infrastructure, not just right now. Council expect our rate plans to suffer that cost. I'm getting my high horse, but we're doing our best to bring forward to them the things we need. And we need for those little governments to get on board. My concern is with parking, and know my attitude to pay parking and providing parking sensibly, and then Councillor Roy triggered on my background when I saw when I was overseas, bringing out the parking inside the centres in these multi-storey car parks, we do pay for those, and that's fair enough. But then the public transport system like this is going to be integrated, they need to go in the centres. We need to look at progressing that in the future as well. This is very good work, heading in a good direction. There's my tweaking there, and I'm very supportive of the work being done.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Frye.
Thank you very much. I too will be supporting this piece of work today. I think we all agree we don't have all the answers, but a couple of things we can strongly agree on, that we are led by a team of experts within Council, engaging with broader experts across Australia and the world to ensure that the information that we provide and the strategic direction that we're headed in this Council is the best with the appropriate information. We're a large region. There's some areas, when we think of the Commandant Ranges or the Commandant Town out there, the horse still plays a big role out there. And then we're coming across to the coast here where necessary type of infrastructure is absolutely paramount. But for those of us that have the opportunity to travel to the Gold Coast, and that could be nearly a decade ago now, time goes so quickly, to actually understand from that council how did they achieve what they have achieved there today in their public transport network. And it was all about, unfortunately, the lowest level of government, the government closest to the people, summing up and playing a very strong role to achieve what they have done. And this is what this document is heading up in this direction. There is no doubt that congestion will drive us to public transport. Even those of us that sit along the railway corridor, we will be looking as this piece of work grows, how the cross networks will be able to work for for us into the future. And being such an environmentally sound region, of course we're seeking to be able to move across around this region in the most sustainable way. And of course we know that mass public transport, whether it's bus networks where people then move in numbers, all heading in the right direction is the way to go. And I can only say the confirmation of this recently attending a day down there in Brisbane at the Asia Pacific Conference and actually seeing what the other local governments have presented to the world on that day, and the amount of work, research, thought that's gone into our piece of work to be stood out amongst others in South East Queensland. So a big move today, and we've got a lot of other needs and necessary items. But Councillor Dwyer has spoken about the next generation and how important it is for them to be able to have the option to be able to get on public transport and access whether they're coming from the hinterland to the coast or the coast to the hinterland, to be able to access this. And this is just the start of a long journey, but there's been a long way on this journey, and I commend everyone to this report today.
Thank you, Councillor Guy. Councillor Borowski, you have a question?
Yes, please. The community has heard an awful lot about fast rail, our city deals, potentially how a bid for an Olympics might make some impacts, significant impacts on the transport network. Would you just try and clarify how the mass transit report relates to those issues?
At the present point in time, there is no intrinsic relationship between the two. Certainly it would be the case that the mass transit case being proven up through this process should prove to be viable and feasible way to go, would give us a very good head start in understanding what needs to be done to put us in a good position for that 2032 timeframe. 2032 sitting in 2019 seems an eternity away. But the mass transit business case will show you that the preparatory work has to start now. So we are to do that, we're on the right track. But it would be fair to say that as important as an event like the 2032 Olympics might be in bringing the focus to our region and this part of the region, and it's a significant event that lasts 4 weeks, what we're really trying to aim for is the event that is one we experience every day. As the people on the Sunshine Coast look for ways in which to move effectively and efficiently and comfortably and conveniently throughout the region, that is what the business case is primarily aimed at. Equally, it will be a very significant contributor to our ability to argue that we are placing ourselves well for a 2032 event.
Thank you, Councillor Borowski. Councillor Rogerson.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Excuse me. I'll probably just, there's a couple of questions I would like to ask, and that is, it's in line with what Councillor Mackay started to push out when she was talking about the horse and carts and so forth over in Condale. We do have this very diverse region, Sunshine Coast, and with people living in the hinterland, can we be assured that as part of the study and the strategy that we've actually got parking stations, that we've actually catered for people that will come from Canterworth or Condale and actually come into the town, because there is no other way for them to actually get in. So first of all, can you just answer that, and then I've got it.
Through the Chair, I might, at this point in time, as you have seen from the plan that was presented as part of the presentation, that there are proposals for links, for bus rapid links from mass transit corridors, whether it be heavy rail or whatever form the mass transit corridor through the coastal area takes to those hinterland locations, the edge of those hinterland locations. It's probably too early to say how those would be supported by park and ride facilities, because we've not yet determined precise locations and what the occasion would be. But it would make sense to obviously look at that component in making sure that those services could perform their desired function. The notion that people would travel by their own car to a point where they could then get onto a public transport service that's fast and reliable. So I can assure you that that would be a component of understanding how that service would be most effectively delivered.
Thank you for that question. It was that answer. it's all very well with our rapid bus going to into say the airport, where the airport then has got the collectivity of, you know, the Yandemas, the Kenilworth, the Mongols and so forth. I think as long as it's imperative that we actually get those parking ready, without parking right there is no other way for those people to actually get in. So they're going to have to be in their cars. So they're going to get to the situation where they're going to, and this is going to start down to the next question, and that is about, as part of the strategy, the most critical strategy, are we going to do, is there going to be any lobbying done with regard to the pricing of public transport? Because at the moment, there really isn't the incentive in public transport, and as Councillor Hunter put forward the numbers, I'm not sure exactly what I know. All I know is it's very, very low, the uptake of public transport. And I believe it's because there is no real incentive there, because by the time that people pay for their bus fare, they could have actually driven there and got there quicker. So, number one, can I just be assured that we do get park and ride stations within the strategy and really, you know, not just talked about, but, you know, on the ground. And secondly, can I ask if we are going to be lobbying with the state, because it is a state procedure regarding the pricing of that country.
So I'll reiterate my answer to the previous question. Park and ride would certainly be examined as part of the process, and opportunities alternatives in how that could be provided as the either end of trip or beginning of trip for the transit opportunities. Around pricing, the state government sets pricing for the use of public transport, and that's not trying to handle it to somebody else, but it's just a reality. The prices are set region-wide. It would be my observation that, and one of the slides we unfortunately had to skip over, but what didn't well on, talks about the cost of congestion. And that becomes a very large figure. And that cost is measured in lost productivity. And all of us place different values on our time. But I know most people see the journey to work, the longer it becomes, as something that's costing them. They will not see the dollar signs ticking over, and it's on their eyelids, but they are certainly seeing the cost in lack of convenience and time spent doing that rather than something they prefer. Mass transit gives many people the option for a much more certain travel time, travel convenience, travel comfort. That in itself becomes a factor that influences people's views about public transport and its value. Certainly, as areas become more congested, everything is more contested. Land becomes more contested. Its use for facilities such as parking invariably over time becomes more difficult. And so if we look at the location in Queensland, which has the highest journey to work figures for public transport, well in excess of 60% of workers going by public transport to Brisbane CBD, the vast majority of people who choose that mode would simply not contemplate using their car as an alternative. Going by public transport is not just, no matter what the public transport fare is actually far cheaper for them, and it gets most people where they need to go far quicker than if they chose to hop in their own car and do the same thing.
Okay, you done, Councillor?
Yeah.
Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will be supporting this officer recommendation today. I just want to outline a couple of reasons why. Obviously, the report goes into detail about the population rate getting away, the challenges with obviously the heavy reliance on personalised vehicles. We've heard obviously that 93% of trips to work made by a vehicle. So in fact, the huge growth that's going to be occurring here in the Sunshine Coast, it's got obviously got a lot of concerns for everyone. I know everyone at this table has expressed we want to see our livability here in Sunshine Coast preserved for future generations. Well, how do we do that? How do we go about preserving that? It's a huge challenge when we don't control public transport. community is highly critical of the Gold Coast. And I keep saying to them, the Gold Coast is what it is. It's not the Sunshine Coast. But the one thing that I respect immensely is their public transport system. And they're at the size that we will be in the next 20 to 25 years. So what have they got? They've got a light rail, they've got a heavy rail, they've got rapid transit buses. These are all things that we will need to consider for our region and future. So when you read through the report, you actually see there is a very high rate of car use in the Sunshine Coast, combined with the population rate, as I just said. Inevitably, it will lead to increased congestion and a car-dominated urban environment. Car-dominated urban environment. What does that mean? What does that look like? It could be 8 to 10 lanes, or even one. I don't think anyone that lives in that region thinks that's a way. This in turn will reduce the livability of our urban places and impacts on people's lifestyles, which is exactly what Councillor Rossi and Darby said. The biggest threat to our region going forward is that livability and preserving that for those future generations. So I will be supporting the today. I strongly encourage that we all support this document moving forward, the strategic business case, and I certainly look forward to its progression.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. I'm going to go to Councillor Rossi to close.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, thank you for your questions and your observations. And I think from those questions and observations it's clear just how vital this mass transit study is and how it will lead to a transport network that really does service our needs as a region. I think Councillor Dwyer and Councillor Cox and Councillor Holmford, in fact all of the councillors, really looked at this issue of, well, how will we go from something like 1.2 million trips per day now to 2 million, or in excess of 2 million trips per day by 2040? Can you possibly imagine how our road network would cope and how our lifestyle would be impacted if we don't have the sort of mass transit system that you saw on the report? Also, how would we deal with the volume of cars if we say it's something like 55% of households having 2 or more cars now? Just wrap your head around that. If that extrapolated into the future, the congestion would be absolutely fatal. The road system would fail. And imagine the change to our regional economy if we have a mass transit system that allows people to essentially make a decision not to have a second car. The RSCQ figures show you that the minimum you'll spend on a small car is about $7,000 a year. For a decent SUV, up to $16,000 a year. Imagine if I was to give you a pay rise of saying, we're going to give you a pay rise of $7,000 to $16,000 a year. If you were able to let go of your second car, that's the sort of impact it will have on your personal economy. And then translate that into the regional economy. Even with, obviously, the costs they would make into the mass transit system, or better still, active transport that goes with the mass transit systems that we're planning. So, councillors, this is, as we understand, as this council understands, a very important day for us because we are now into a planning process that essentially joins us in partnership with the state and feds. It was so thrilling to be at the event at Marrickville when the Premier announced the Central Time to partner with us in business detail business case, which obviously this leads us to. I'd like to close by thanking the light rail, now mass transit study team. They have done a brilliant job. As you can tell when you ask a question, they really have become very expert and very experienced in this space. And that's so important for us as a community to have that local understanding of our networks and to have a good understanding of what the solutions can be. that puts us in a very good position to be the very best advocates we need to be to the state and federal governments, who really do, in the end, make the key decisions on assets that they will own and operate. So, very important day, and well done to the team. And thank you, councillors, for past support on this progression of reports. I understand, shaping the future, I will include the integrated transport strategy, as well as the other documents. We've got a very good space, and thank you, and I hope and show our support today in one unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rossi. We'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you very much, Leah and James. We're going to go now to item 8.2, which is a DAMCU 7 Council Bureau.
Mr. Mayor, Councillors. This is an impact assessable application for material training use for a funeral parlour and for a function facility. The application is presented to Council today because of the high level of public interest in this application, with 147 submissions objecting to the proposal being received by the Council. The site is located at 57 Mountain View Drive. If you go along Landsborough and Maloney Road, going towards Landsborough, Maloney, you turn left at Mary Ken Cross Corner. Just before you get to the Mary Ken Cross Reserve, you turn left and into the site down in Scotland. The site is a rural zone. It's approximately 14.5 hectares in size. The site falls sharply from Mountain View Drive down the Scotland. So it's not at all visible from the Mountain View Drive because of the vegetation and the topography. There's two access driveways providing access to the site. One is by a number of access easements, the other one is totally contained. The western one is totally contained on the site. There are two existing houses on the site. There's an improvement to the dam that has recently been made. There's a number of significant stands of vegetation, natural vegetation on the site, and there's one stand of forest plantation. So the proposal consists of two elements. One is a funeral parlour, and the second one is a function facility. In order to conduct funerals and memorials on the site, the applicant had to make an application for a funeral parlour in accordance with the definitions of the plan scheme. But the proposal does not include a crematorium or a mortuary or the preparation of bodies for cremation or burial. It's just for ceremonies. It is proposed use of the site for funerals is 2 funerals per day, with up to 150 guests attending those each funeral session. Operational hours are from 9 a.m. to 5:30, so it's daylight hours. The guests will be accommodated in a proposed new chapel, which has seating. It's approximately 248 square metres, which will accommodate seating for 150 guests. Operation is pretty much exactly like a function facility, probably less than a function facility. The second component is a function facility, and that's accommodated in the first floor of the existing house on the site, with the residents accommodated below. That has a GFA of about 200 square metres and accommodates 100 guests at any one time. It's proposed that one function facility will occur per day, but not on the same day that the funeral activity or funeral has occurred on site. Parking for 42 bays has been provided on the site. Access is from the western driveway, which is shown on the plan, through a signalised traffic system. That's because the driveway is very narrow, and to avoid any vegetation carried on the site, a signalised system is proposed, so with no vegetation carried. So as mentioned, the site is not it's not visible from Mountain View Drive, but there are potential. There's 3 potential houses that are the closest being about 205 metres away, which potentially could be impacted by the proposed development. The submitters have raised a number of concerns. One is that the inconsistent use of the funeral parlour in the rural zone. They've also raised amenity concerns like noise, lighting, traffic, potential visual impact, and that's amongst other issues. The applicants provided detailed specialist reports, including acoustic reports, traffic reports, geotech reports, vegetation reports, which showed that the impacts would be on the neighbours would be negligible. And officers have done a comprehensive assessment of the submitters' concerns, the proposal against the relevant planning scheme codes, and the submitters' concerns, and found that the proposal can be conditioned to comply, and that it generally complies with the relevant codes of the planning scheme. Those reasonable and relevant conditions would include issues such as limiting the number of funerals or functions to only one per day, not permitting a crematorium or a mortuary to occur on the site, limiting the hours only to daylight hours from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m, limiting the number of persons that could frequent a funeral to 150 persons, and a function facility to 100 persons. Incorporating noise attenuation measures into the construction of the buildings. Also not permitting music or amplified music to occur outside of the existing buildings. Providing landscape screening to buffer the car park area and to the proposed buildings. Requiring the buildings to be constructed of subdued colours and non-reflective materials. Preparation of a detailed management plan and a complaints register, and then also having a manager on site for all events on the site. Based on those conditions, and it's recommended that Council approve the proposed funeral parlour and function facility with reasonable and relevant conditions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John. Someone have any move? Councillor Gavrosky.
I'd like to move an alternative recommendation to consent. Councillors, I think you will appreciate that.
I might just get someone that says that.
Well, I might need to read them. I have distributed the alternative recommendation. If you want me to read.
Okay, read it then. Before you start giving the rationale, wait a second.
Thank you. So, councillors, the alternative recommendation is that council receive and note the report titled Development Application for Material Change of Use of Premises to establish a funeral parlour and function facility at 57 Mountain View Road, Fortnall, and refuse application number NCU 18/0189 for the development permit for material change of use of premises to establish a funeral parlour and function facility at 57 Mountain View Road, Fortnall for the following reasons. One, the proposal conflicts with the Rural Zone Code of the Planning Scheme 2014 as a funeral parlour is an inconsistent use within the zone. And two, the proposal would cause unreasonable impacts to the rural character and the amenity of the surrounding sensitive land uses by way of noise and traffic impacts.
Someone have any second? Councillor Mackay, thank you. Right,
Thank you.
Councillor.
Councillors, I think you would appreciate the amount of effort that the assessment officers have put into trying to find conditions which would satisfy many of the submitters' concerns. But ultimately, I feel an obligation to represent the lifestyle that they feel is genuinely going to be at stake. There is a number of local residents have contacted me. I've been on site, I've met with them, and obviously they have made up to 147 submissions. So it is my duty to represent their view in saying the impact, despite the conditions, will be too much on their quality of life. It is basically an amenity issue. It's the noise and to some extent the movement and potentially, I think, their concerns of where will this facility go in 5-10 years' time. So their concerns are that, yep, it's going to have an impact now, but we feel that that impact will inevitably increase despite our best efforts to condition it. So councillors, I would ask you to protect the residents' lifestyle and support my alternative recommendation for a refusal.
Thank you, Councillor Rossi. You've been a customer of resisting. So listen to your colleagues. Councillor White. I'm not sure what to say there, Mr. Beard. No, it was a problem.
Yes, it was. Through you, Mr. Wardley. Mr. Wardley, could you just confirm something I touched on in my question in the review last week? To me, and looking at definitions of beautiful harbours, is an establishment where the dead are prepared for very little cremation. Will there be preparation of dead bodies at this funeral parlour or not?
Mr. Mayor, no.
Thank you.
Councillor Hunt.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. It's a difficult one. There's some suppliers that want to go through the payment fence to separate performance and accounts and everything. Well, I probably support Councillor Dodd with great loss today. As we've all seen, if you give them, especially animals on the soil, that's a big difference. Then you get further expansions or things later on. You probably all saw there's one in my area where now it's been really recently major change in the rules and I see the media already flagging further changes and applications that could be up to us in the future. And I've just recently been given a briefing on what was an educational establishment where they're in a very constrained place. And now they're looking at the ministerial designation to have a right council on the town planning double the size of that in an area. So you've got to be careful what you allow where it's open to the doors and subsequently further down the track. So looking at this being a rural area, I'm facing the right and look at that area. What concern will look on the line still get here is okay, it's only a funeral parlour now, what would be the subsequent applications that can come later on? To expand the number of things being held there, the type of activities, being affected there, that's all further applications you can get later on. It may look like impact at the moment, but basically it's well over time. And the uses become more popular or they need to expand their capability as a business that's coming in. So on this one here, difficult one for me, but I think on the, going on the sort of caution, I will support Councillor Macarosi on this one today and have the other residents there.
Thanks, Councillor Hunt. Councillor Clyde.
Thank you very much. I too had the opportunity to visit on site and definitely see some of the merit in perhaps a facility like this for those that want to gather together to celebrate a life. And it's been very difficult for me, but like Councillor Barbara has spoken today, I'm going to support the number of objectives that have lodged their concerns about the material change of use. Also noting that Mountain View Road is also one of the most travelled roads in Australia and it's recorded as that. We've already got issues with the amount of traffic on that, and we have also added to that with our redevelopment of the Mary Cancross Reserve. Also understanding that who is going to regulate the number of people that will attend these facilities, what sort of impacts it will have. We already have a notable amount of concerns that are raised by the local residents over the already approved and established restaurants and wedding facilities, particularly along that area. So appreciate the great work that the staff have done to try and get this application over the line, but also recognising that some of the concerns, well, enormous concerns that were raised with me, were not really well read about what the application was already about. But today, I support the refusal on the grounds of the amenity, the impacts, possible impacts or increasing impacts, because this has already happened on other rural lands in that vicinity of the Mountain View Road and taking that into consideration.
Thank you, Councillor Mackay. Councillor Rogers.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I've just got a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Can you just tell us the objective is 147%?
Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
147. Can you give us an idea, you know, if you would look at these in total, can you just tell me where they all came from and especially in relation to the most prominent houses only a couple of hundred metres away? Can you just give me an idea if they're all in, that they've all gone in as objectives and how far afield does that 7 go?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, pretty much all the neighbouring properties objected, but the objections go further afield, specifically to the surrounding countryside and Malay area.
So have you got a map? You haven't got a map? Does it say exactly where the objectives are?
No.
Okay. Functions. When we talk about functions, the functions that are going to be occurring are only from 9 o'clock to 5:30.
That is correct.
So that there is no nighttime activities.
That is correct.
So can you, in the discussions you've had with the applicant or the consultants, what sort of functions would that be? This
Through Mr. Mayor, it could be any function. It could be a wedding function. It could be someone celebrating a birthday party. They haven't specified what functions that are catered for that gross floor area of about 200 square metres on top of the residence. Up to 100 persons can frequent that, and they haven't. It could be any function.
okay. When we talk about Councillor Dwyer brought up the definition of funeral parlour. So would I be right in assuming, or tell me if I'm wrong, so the fact of the inconsistent use that has been put forward in the motion that's been put forward by Councillor Babrowski, is that a true feeling in the fact that it's really not, whilst under the planning scheme, we've had to call it a funeral parlour, but in actual fact it's not a funeral parlour, so it's just it's a gathering of people, if you like, just so happens that one of them's passed away.
Mr. Mayor, that's quite correct. If I can just quote the funeral parlour definition, it's a premises used to arrange and conduct funerals, memorial services and the like, but do not include burial or cremation. The use includes a mortuary and the storage and preparation of bodies for burial or cremation. Now, this proposal is only for the ceremonies, and with the deceased person being brought onto the site and transported off the site immediately. So it's more like, it operates like a function rather than a true definition of a funeral parlour.
Okay. At this stage, I think I'll talk to the motion, you know. Councillors, as you know, I wasn't here for the agenda review on Thursday, so I don't know what discussions, what questions, I should say, were asked at that. On the basis that everything that's been put forward today about, this is only leading forward and so forth, well, you can't do that. Under the planning scheme, if they put an application in, it has to be judged on its merits, okay, as you see it in there. Wouldn't it be great? I was just listening to Councillor Hunter saying, and then they'll, once it becomes good, then they'll want more and more. Well, that's up for a future council. At the moment, though, what we are doing is we're judging this proposal on what's here before us. And I understand people in that particular area, that may have angst and talking about the noise and so forth. I think about in that area along further with all the restaurants and that are along there. where the traffic and and they're going through till, I'm not sure, it'd have to be at least 10 o'clock at night. So in this particular application, it really is, it seems to me, and I know that somebody may laugh, but it seems to be a little bit benign, the undertakings. I wish that the applicants all the best trying to run, functions from 9 o'clock to 5:30, and I dare say weddings would be a major one in there, with which Mullany and the Blackwell Range has really become very, very renowned for. So these people are actually doing it lawfully. They've actually put in a development application and they're endeavouring to do it lawfully. We've got a lot of people out there now that, that they run amok and do things against what the penalty says. So, in short, I believe, and I take on board what the planning staff have actually put to us here today, and I think on merit and what has actually been put to us here today, there is no, they talked about the traffic lighting and they've gone with a great deal to talk about mitigating the concerns that people have got. There would always be noise abatement laws and so forth that would actually come into play, and I'm sure that if council was to receive complaints in the future, if this was to be given an approval, that then they would be able to put the letter of the law down to these people and go. But we haven't come to that yet. They put in a genuine application for us to consider, and the officers have done their darndest to mitigate all this concerns. I'm sure Mr. Borthwick has looked, and his other council officers have looked through those objections and done everything they can to mitigate the concerns. So councillors, whilst I do acknowledge people have got concerns, I believe we've got a duty here to allow this to proceed.
Thank you, Councillor Robertson. Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very much what I said there, Councillor Robertson. It's difficult on this one. The freedom of public is an inconsistent use. It's not actually freedom of public, but Councillor Robertson as well, we're going to judge it on what's before us today. But at the same time, we've also got to understand improving something today, what's the impact into the future. You can't ignore the impact into the future. I can't come up with possibilities or something that might happen in the future, but looking at what this is and how it will evolve, going on past experience with regards to other places that have ceremonies and functions and whatnot, and gives me a reasonable understanding. Then I look at the objections from the community around that amenity and character. We were just touching on amenity and character this morning on the mass transit. Making sure that the character of our areas is something that's in the forefront of our mind. Put that together with some of the other comments today about saying, well, the planning scheme half allows this and half doesn't because of the function part of it, but also then the funeral part of it, which is inconsistent. Where does that take us down the track with regards to the character of our areas? Then I go to a point which is quite like with Councillor Anderson as well. There's certain decisions for future councils. I actually think on this one, it is if I don't there, if I don't to an extent on this, but I think it's one where it is something for a future council as well. We better understand what these types of areas do represent in the future rather than trying to change their uses today by approving inconsistent use. What does it mean for the residents that live closest to it as well? If I go back to Battery, up in Battery, where we had a 5-star resort proposed at the end of a residential street. So everybody going to that 5-star resort, if it ever gets built, will be using a residential street to get to a 5-star tourism facility in a residential area. And that's why I support Battery, because of my concern for the local residents and the character of that area is something that is an inconsistent use with the adjoining uses. So I may be being oversensitive on this one, I don't know. But I prefer to be cautionary on this one. I will be supporting Councillor Dabrowski today due to my concerns of the inconsistent use and the long-term impact on the community. And I think that something like this, as we better understand what these different locations on the coast mean to us, then it'd be a decision that might be best decided into the future. Whether it's this location, another similar one in a similar circumstance, we look at that into the future to see if it's consistent with the character and the expectations of the community at that point in time.
Thank you, Councillor White. Councillor Robinson.
Through this, a few questions for me. Can I maybe get an idea from council officers or whoever would like to respond in terms of rural zone, what sorts of uses could be applied to a rural zone that may in fact impact on nearby residential area?
Through Mr. Mayor, pretty much any urban use, like when I talk about an urban use that's allowed or permissible within the urban footprint, moving out into the rural zone would be an impact assessment and in most cases an inconsistent use. I'd have to refer to the table of development assessment to see that it will have a specific list, and it sort of lists such cropping, forestry, rural industry as consistent uses and potentially consistent uses. You take a medical centre and you put it into the rural zone, that would be an inconsistent impact assessable use.
Previously, I'm just making the point there that rural uses can be very comfortably in the rural zone. The next question is, can I maybe also get a comment on, I think one of the councillors mentioned the term thinner edge of the wedge, and I just wanted to get some clarity from the council's point of view about how that is perceived in terms of dealing with what's in front of us now. Mr. Ripper, are you able to give us maybe some understanding of the term thin edge of the wedge and whether there is a significant risk to council on any decision made on the same today?
Through this, Mayor, councillors, I think it is important to understand that the application contains two distinct components, one being a consistent use within the zone, one being generally inconsistent use within the zone. We hashed out the topic of the definition of that inconsistent use, and due to the definitions in the planning scheme, the component of funeral parlour has been designated within that potentially inconsistent use. However, through the officer's assessment, it has been noted that that use, in conjunction with the consistent use of a functional facility, would not exacerbate any additional potential impacts on the site. In terms of the thin edge of the wedge component of the question, councillor, this application again before you on its merits. Any future applications, either for a change of use or for an amendment or exacerbation of the use on site, will need to go through a requisite assessment.
Mr. Mayor, councillors, I won't be supporting the motion in front of you by Councillor Babarowski. Must say it's been a very challenging matter that I've had to give a lot of thought to. The first point I'd make, and I'm just going to keep this short, but the first point I'd make is that I really want to debunk the myth that if you live in a rural zone, that you're not going to have any noise and any of your amenity impact whatsoever. If anyone who's lived next to a farm, as I have, and you've dealt with the trucks coming at various times in the morning for milking, the cows being in the front on the back of the truck, the chooks, you know, in a rural zone, it is not there for your peace and quiet and serenity. And so let's just cut to the chase and get rid of any of that sort of stuff. So people who bought in a rural area, they are not guaranteed to live in peaceful serenity and not have that impact upon them at all. If you choose to live in a rural zone, you may be impacted upon the day-to-day life that is keeping food on our table. The other point I make is that in front of us we've had a range of specialist reports
that deal with visual amenity, noise amenity, you know it, you've seen it in the report. Expert reports that say this can be reasonably conditioned to manage what is a very important business opportunity for landowners. The funeral parlour. In the report, the officer notes that it is inconsistent use, as mentioned by Mr. Woodcraig, but it is not considered to be in conflict with any of the assessment benchmarks contained in the plan scheme, because it's effectively another function element. And that's why the officers, professional officers, have given this due consideration. Obviously, if it has a mortuary element to it, it would be a different consideration. But this is not what is in front of us. What is in front of us and what is in front of the officers is this specific use. So I'm very comfortable that with, I would imagine, dozens of experts poring over this over the last couple of months, with all of the expert reports, have come to us with a recommendation that is different to the one that came us today. So I certainly am very comfortable in the officer's argument that it's not in conflict with the assessment benchmarks in the plan scheme, and so therefore can be considered in a positive light. So, councillors, what I say to you is that, okay, it's rural zone, and there is going to be some additional activity in that space. Well, guess what? Just along the road is Merry Cairncross. Council made a decision about Merry Cairncross. Is there any additional activity in that space because of the wonderful Discovery Centre that Council's approved? Absolutely. We're very comfortable about that. This is significantly less in terms of activity, and we seem to be concerned about that. So, councillors, I'm not convinced that there's sufficient information in front of me and that's been provided by the councillors that are speaking in support of this motion in front of us. I'm not convinced there's sufficient evidence in front of us to refuse the application and, in fact, run against professional officers' recommendations and all the specialist reports in front of us. If you're weighing up the evidence of what the officers have provided and this report provides, backed by all these reports, versus in my view, quite light evidence on the alternative, then I can only come up with one decision, and that is support the motion for us.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. Councillor Rogerson, a question?
Look, I think Mr. Rupai actually clarified the situation for me. I might just put it out again. So the function facility is a consistent use, okay, and it seems like that's where all the angst is. But and to further clarify what Councillor Robinson said, so if they wanted to run a piggery on that particular lot, if they wanted to put shade houses on that particular lot, it is consistent use. Excuse me. It's the second part, and the funeral parlour, by definition, is an inconsistent use. But we've already established that this isn't a, by definition, funeral parlour.
Mr. Mayor, in terms of establishing a piggery or shade houses as defined as intensive horticulture or intensive animal husbandry, that is a potentially consistent use and is assessed on its merits in that particular report.
I just have a question regarding the event car park. We're talking about events for up to 150 people with 39 parking bays. Is that considered sufficient given the nature of that area in terms of parking elsewhere? Where would overflow go in the event that occurred?
Through Mr. Mayor, the parking calculation, there's a total of 42. There's that one consolidated parking area of 39 spaces, and then there's additional parking spaces near, including the person with disability parking near the house. The parking is calculated based on the gross floor area of the chapel building and of the functional facility building. So the parking calculation of 42 car parks was spot on in terms of the requirements of the planning scheme traffic and parking access code. The site is quite a large site, so on the proposal plan that's before you now, you can see the driveway meandering from Mountain View Drive all the way down to the car park. That's a very, very steep section of land, and it's a few, just over 100 metres away from the car park, and an additional distance to the function facility and the chapel. So it's very unlikely that people will be parking on Mountain View Drive. They will be parking totally on the site, and then where that existing car park is, it's pretty flat. That's why it's been located there, because it's a flat area of the site that doesn't need much construction. And there is, in the unlikely or in the event that there are additional cars there, there's more than sufficient grass space for overflow parking to be accommodated.
Thank you. You want to close, Councillor Dabrowski?
Can I ask a question first? I'd just like to get an idea from planning staff about the definition of funeral parlour. Are we not obliged, as councillors have mentioned, to judge this on its merits? And it is being presented to us as a funeral parlour, which is potentially inconsistent use. Is that defendable? We support this refusal today. Is that a defendable position? Should we need to do so?
Mr. Mayor, you are correct. It has been presented as a funeral parlour. The applicant has applied that particular wording to the application. It has been assessed in line with the definition of a funeral parlour, given some of the components that align directly with that definition, albeit the absence of a mortuary or crematory. And yes, the application does need to be assessed on its merits in line with the information that is within the assessment report.
Okay. Got close, Councillor?
Thank you, Mr. And councillors, I really do appreciate that this is a difficult application, and to some extent that's why I've appreciated not only the debate and the questions, but the experience of this chamber. Councillors, I'm completely comfortable. I think the applicant is completely comfortable with it coming to council because it is difficult. So I rely on, to some extent, the collective experience to look at difficult applications like this and make an assessment of are the conditions sufficient, are the consistencies clear or not clear. And to some extent, I think you can use your experience on what this might lead to. That is a component in my view. It could be argued that I'm wrong. And in purely planning criteria, you'll probably like Councillor Hutchinson that it's a low merit criteria. But I still think that as councillors with experience, we can ask ourselves, will this stay as proposed? And I think you've seen through the debate that there's various views on that. So I'm happy, councillors, to leave it to this chamber to make a decision to support my alternative recommendation or not. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Dabrowski. We'll put Councillor Dabrowski's motion to vote. All those in favour? Councillor Prey, Hungerford, Mackay, Cox, Dwyer, Dabrowski. Those opposed? Councillor Rogerson, Robinson, Connolly, Jamison. The motion is carried. Move to order. Thank you, John. Move to order 8.3. Jack Ray and Henry to give us to deal with questions in relation to our sports field management funding program. Great. Steph and Jack. The report's been widely distributed. You can take please put questions to Jack or Stephanie. First of all, someone prepared to move the report. Councillor Craig, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Dwyer. Sorry, Councillor Cox. Sorry. He was waiting for me there. Would you like to open, Councillor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Firstly, Mr. Mayor, thank you to the officers for the report, and Jack, thank you to all your team for the marvellous work you do right across the entire region with our sports field maintenance program. It's exceptional, it's brilliant, we love every single
laying grass on your fields, mate, doing a fantastic job. Mr. Mayor, $661,000 worth of sports field maintenance across the region, which is something that we should all be very cognizant of, because quite frankly, this is one of the reasons why we have enormous visitation to the region. A lot of the second-tier events across the Sunshine Coast, and I want to talk to you mostly about school sport events, masters events, men's and women's events, and age group events, all come to the Sunshine Coast because of our reputation for having wonderful, wonderful sports fields. Junior sport across Australia is in massive decline. We all know that. There's a lot of kids putting on weight, sitting on the couch playing on iPads. The Sunshine Coast is somewhat bucking that trend. And I want to say, particularly through netball. I know that netball is not really a big part of the sports field maintenance program, but it's junior sport that I'm making the connection to. Netball here on the Sunshine Coast has absolutely exploded. The latest figures are showing that our netball teams are at 10% growth across the Sunshine Coast, which is extraordinary, both boys and girls, men's and women's teams. That said, we've got a decline in sports, footy, soccer, tennis, netball, swimming, surf life saving, you name it. And it's something that needs to be considered, I think, by maintaining our fields to the high standard that we've got, and even taking it to a higher level if possible, only gives our community a greater opportunity to get out there, to get off their bums and get a bit of exercise with their life. The healthy and active lifestyle is exactly what the Sunshine Coast is about. People live here in the region, they love it, and they all enjoy using our sports field at some part of their life. The reputation of our region for sports fields, and it's nationwide. And I'll give you a great example. There's a reason why 5 out of 6 AFL premiership winning teams have come to the Sunshine Coast for their pre-season training. And it's because of what our sports fields have got on. Amongst that, you can name a list, a plethora, if you like, of other sporting teams at high level, professional levels coming to our region for training. It's a great sporting destination, the Sunshine Coast. I'm very proud of it, and I commend Jack, you and your team. You do a wonderful job of watching. You're out there pushing your hands out there, directing the wheels and getting the traffic flowing. Just like a music conductor. It's a great job. Love your work. And I really look at the City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for the report. I would just like to query on the North Shore sporting grounds. Were they completely, the work there was done entirely by the council previously to this?
Mr. Mayor, for around the last 3 or 4 years, council's been managing the venue. Prior to that, the clubs were part of the funding program and managing it themselves.
Okay. So can I just ask, this is where the Wildcats, where I believe the Wildcats are now moved out to netball PCYC. Yeah, that's what I'm leading to, is the fact that they've now gone from there, it puts another burden. I don't see there's anything on there for increase for PCYC, that's all. So little athletics are at netball, and I'd just like to make sure that we haven't just forgotten in the fact that I know they've been pushing me for a mower. I'm going to get a second-hand mower for them because the mower that they've actually got out there isn't conducive to soccer fields, for the shortness. So can I just have an understanding of how to do this, Mr. Mayor, so that we can just make sure, because I don't want this to be the be-all end-all that just lock, stock, barrel, that's it, that we can take into consideration what is actually happening with the PCYC and the amalgamation of the Little Athletics and Wildcats, which equates to something like, a few hundred kids. So can I just get your comment on that? And maybe some lead as to which way I might be able to go to maybe bring back to council at a further date some minor increase into that pool for the PCYC.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the way I understand it with netball PCYC is that the athletics club have that full 12-month period of tenure, which means that PCYC themselves actually receive the funding because they're the custodian of the program. And they receive it, like the formula for the funding program is the period of tenure type of sport play. We haven't received any applications from the PCYC yet, so that sounds like something that we need to probably follow up ourselves and just check into all
PCYC. Sure, it has to be there, it's a main application. It's not something we can deal with today because we don't have an application on it.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's just the fact that the grant that they've actually given, exactly the criteria was how long is the little athletics. You know, we've said season, which is 12 months a year.
No, that's right. As I said, the ECYC are funded and they are responsible for 12 months, so they receive 12 months funding for the ground.
But they would only be putting in for the maintenance of the fields during the athletics. Now we've got a situation where we've got the soccer in there, and so it's a different criteria. So look, I'll follow it up when we go to the start later.
Councillor Barbaros.
Thank you, Mr. Just a question. Councillors would have noticed that Warringah new sports facility has been added to the list, and I'd really appreciate it if you wouldn't mind letting us know prior to essentially awarding the sports field maintenance. Did we do some sort of assessment of the condition of that field? As the first of what will be a number from the Aura development, are you able to make an observation, perhaps cautiously, on the quality of that field is as we've inherited it, and I appreciate your experience on it.
Certainly, through you, Mr. Mayor. So we've been working with the developer and DA through the transition of and the construction of the venue. I've been down there myself quite a few times providing feedback to both of those groups on issues we've found, and I'm confident that any issues that we have raised have been addressed. The field as it sits right now is certainly suitable for community sports field use.
Thank you. Great. No further speakers. Like to close, Councillor Grant. Put the motion to vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Steph, Jack. Well done. Rightio, we'll wrap up the finance report. Before that, 8.4, we'll wrap up the LGAQ annual conference motion. And again, Julie, it might come forward. We've got the details of that. If someone happy to move it. Councillor Dwyer, thank you. Councillor Barbarosky's happy to second. Councillor,
I was just going to reserve the right to close this if the opposition understand.
Are there any other speakers to the motion or questions? No. Would you like to close, Councillor?
Mr. Mayor, as a result, if this is supported today, this will go to the LGAQ conference, which this year is up in Kings. And as the motion outlines, the local government association and lobbies and power utilities industry bodies to jointly fund underground and power that change to existing overhead power supplies is required as part of the local government survey and upgrade capital works program. And it's called up the local government planning scheme. So I don't think we're going to have, if this gets supported today, which I'm pretty sure will be, I don't think we'll be having any trouble getting support from the local government conference, from the other local governments throughout the state of Queensland, Mr. Mayor. This issue of underground power is an expensive one, but it's also a process that we've got to follow and very time consuming. Put that on top of the expense of underground power, it becomes a really frustrating element for local government in Queensland. So we certainly need to have a better system, a better process and a better funding model for the underground power as we move forward. Certainly the understanding between the service providers, between local government, the development industry, I would expect as well, and also the state government is one that's got to be weighed out against today. And we've got to find through that is hopefully successful motion of the LGAQ conference, get into a decent discussion with the state government to see if we can improve how the provision of power, particularly obviously in this case underground, is not only provided in a time efficient way, but in a more financially sustainable and economic manner as well.
Thanks, Councillor White. We put the motion to vote. Those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Thanks very much, Victoria and Nick. Now we'll go to 8.5. We'll break up to this finance report for June. And I'd like to give us a quick presentation. Thank you.
Morning all. I'm here today to present the interim financial performance report for June 2019, which encompasses the financial year results for the 2018-19 financial year. As of June 2019, Council's operating results of 18.2 million is favourable to the budget of 6.8 million. Sustainable higher than budget revenue of 5.3 million and lower than budget expenses of 1.5 million. Please note, councillors, that the results of this report are interim, and a more accurate reflection of the year results will be presented at the August audit meeting next month. The Queensland Audit Office may also recommend further adjustments to be reflected in the final audited financial statements. Council receives operating revenue of $451.9 million for the 2018-19 financial year. This is favourable to budget by 5.3 million, which is mostly attributable to the early payment of the federal assistance grant of 6.2 million. Council's expenditure reached $433.8 million for 2018-19, which is $1.5 million lower than the adopted budget. And over expenditure and employee costs is covered by notice expenditure in materials and services, which includes $900,000 of corporate costs. Council's capital works program, or CORE, is currently 96% complete, with most programs achieving greater than 95% completion for the financial year. Council's other and region making program has progressed 82% for the financial year. However, we are expecting this to increase with the final due payment for the subsea cable due this week. And a review of the 2089 capital works program will be provided during the budget review process next month.
Thank you, Isaac. You have to move and address that. Thank you. Councillor Huntford, seconded. Thank you. Are there any questions? I'd like to just make a couple of observations and thank Isaac and the team for a really outstanding result. It never ceases to amaze me how interested ratepayers are in the finances of council. And rightfully so. They don't have nearly the same interest in the taxes they pay to state and federal governments, which amounts for 97% of the total they pay. But they're really interested in their rates. And that provides a level of responsibility that we have and we should proudly demonstrate to them at every opportunity how well they're managing their money. And I get often asked questions about how council's going. And because I guess people have been unfamiliar with many councils undertaking the level of activity we are around major projects that we're committed to. And I'm convinced that our community is on side with it. There'll always be changes, always. The harder you work, the harder you try, there are people who will continue to want to knock that effort. So I just want to congratulate our councillors for sticking to the agenda and our staff for the great job they're doing and providing wonderful comfort to our community. And I guess we're currently, based on our population of 320,000 people, our total capital project equates to approximately $1,125 for every resident. That's improving the place, making it better, dealing with issues of congestion, making sure we've got wonderful facilities, community facilities, that parks and gardens, the basic core services that people expect from us. But it also sees us, as I said earlier, working on major environmental projects like the Blue Heart, investing in an international recognition like the Biosphere. And these are all things that come at an expense in terms of cash, but also the time that our expert staff put in. And I really want to congratulate our teams on those things, the collaboration with the state around the Blue Heart, the collaboration with the state around the $15 million contribution, combined sum for the detailed business case. we've been standing there, and I didn't make this point, we've been standing there with our $7.5 million commitment for a long time. You know, we really have had to drag the state kicking and screaming to deliver their $7.5 million. So whenever someone tells you that isn't it wonderful that the state's put up $7.5 million, make sure you remind them that they collect 5 times the amount of tax out of this market that we do. And we're also putting up $7.5 million. So, and there aren't too many councils, I hasten to add, that are making that sort of investment in community infrastructure that we are for the greater good of our community and citizens. So I just want to make that point, that this is a really outstanding result. We've got some significant projects ahead of us, and we bring our collection of major economic, environmental and community initiatives to the fore, but we can continue to satisfy our constituents. That of the 77 councils in Queensland, there's only 3 at the second highest possible level. We're one of those 3. And again, I thank you councillors for the improvements, but also the bravery in making courageous decisions for the greater good of this region. Thank you. Councillor Dwyer, would you like to wrap up?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We'll make it fairly short and sweet. You've done a great job there, Mr. Mayor. I was out at the Sunshine Coast Turnpike on the weekend, having a beer with a few mates. Jeff Auction invited me out. His son recently passed away from cancer. He's a 21-year-old from cancer. We get together every year and celebrate Dan's life, and it's something else, another fundraiser coming up in the very near future. But it was interesting in the conversation during the afternoon. They were asking me about how the council's going and how you going, you know, Tim, you know, what's it like? There's a lot of people wanting to see the movie. And when we've got such a great region, we've got so much on the go and so much positivity in the region. And a mate of mine piped up from the sideline and said, we're pretty up for those people to see the light of day and see what's all the good things going on the Sunshine Coast, and they're that busy with their head down putting movie. So just goes to your point, Mr. Mayor, that the majority of people on the Sunshine Coast see that not only are we getting things done, but we are a financially prudent and sustainable council. There are naysayers out there, and I get that, that's all part and parcel of life. There's some of the commentary around this council going broke and not being able to manage our finances. I do find it hard to understand. Saying that to all of our team, thank you again for financial management, Mr. Pickersgill, Mr. Costello, Mr. Jeanette, Alan Hill, and our business performance area, and all the departments of council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. CEO, that have contributed to the way we go about managing our finances and our projects and services that to go out into making up that overall financial situation that we're in. I look forward to the final results coming forward, the final audit documents for our annual report. But it gives me great heart that the end of year financial position, yes, the federal assistance grant has been brought forward, and that may balance out next year if they don't bring it forward again, but if they do bring it forward, that's something that will become a bit consistent into the future, and I hope it does become consistent rather than changing the times that they deliver their federal assistance grant. But I do look forward to us continuing as a council to look for the best way we can, whilst managing our finances, to provide benefit and value back into the Sunshine Coast community.
Thank you, Councillor White. We'll put the motion to vote. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Councillors will break there for morning tea. Stay back at 11:20.